Having a baby was life-altering for me. As the youngest child in my family, I was used to being taken care of all my life. But when I had my son, I knew everything would change. However, I couldn't have anticipated just how rocky the start of my motherhood journey would be. Hi, I'm Gwen, and at the age of 26, I had my first child. My son Heath was everything to me and my husband Hugh. From the moment I heard him cry in the hospital, I knew I was going to dedicate my entire life to him. After all, that's what parents do, right? Well, it doesn't go that way for every parent. This is where Hugh's mom, Trish, comes in. Trish, who had recently gotten divorced for the second time, came to stay with us. She wasn't in the best mental shape and had nowhere else to go. She had Hugh when she was very young, and the divorce had left him with a lot of emotional baggage. When I married Hugh, I learned that Trish had just had another child, which was surprising given her age. She and her ex-husband thought they could save their marriage by having a child, but it fell apart anyway, and she lost custody. When we brought Heath home from the hospital, Trish was over the moon. She would hang around his cradle for hours, just staring at him in awe. While I was somewhat glad she was around, I could sense that she missed the daughter she wouldn't see grow up. One day, as we were settling in, Trish asked, "So, what are you going to name him?" "I bet he looks like a Raymond or a Carlo." "Those are pretty names, but we've already decided on his name," I said with a giggle. "His name is Heath." "Heath, I love it. Little Heathy, can I hold him?" Trish eagerly asked. I gently placed Heath in her arms. She had handled more babies than I had, so I trusted her. Hugh and I smiled as she played with him. But soon, Heath started crying. "Here, let me have him. He's hungry," I said. "Oh, nonsense. He's not hungry. He just wants attention," Trish insisted, trying to play with him as he cried. I looked at Hugh, confused. "Mom, I think he's too young for that. Let Gwen take care of him," Hugh said, trying to intervene. "He doesn't have to be hungry." "I've got this handled," Trish replied, refusing to hand him over. "Please, Trish, let me have the baby." "Hugh will get you some water," I said, trying to remain calm. "He's not hungry. His tummy is full. I can hear it," she said, shaking Heath gently. At that point, I lost my nerve. Heath started crying even louder, and I managed to snatch him away from her. Trish reacted oddly, trying to hold on to him, but I held firm. She made faces but kept to herself afterward. This was just the beginning of her odd behavior. She would always try to play with Heath, even when he was sleeping, which was incredibly frustrating. It would take me hours to get him to sleep, and she would wake him up the moment I looked away. She took no responsibility and ignored his crying, insisting that all babies ever wanted was attention. Food and sleep, according to her, came second. "Sometimes it's 2 hours before they get hungry," she argued. "Trish, Heath is only a few weeks old. He needs to be fed and sleep regularly," I tried to explain. "Oh, you new mothers think you know everything. No wonder kids these days are so spoiled," she retorted. Her silly arguments and refusal to attend to Heath properly made me feel like she was using him as a plaything, only keeping him around when he was fun. I decided to talk to Hugh about this, but he wasn't happy with the way I was talking about his mom. He wasn't around much when she played with Heath since he was usually at work while I was on unpaid maternity leave. "I wish I could have had paid leave, but my employers weren't very kind," I lamented. "I've already used up my 12 weeks of paid leave, and now I'm exceeding them. Hugh, can you please try to get along with my mom? She's been through a lot and probably just wants to bond with Heath." "I do get along with her, but she acts weird around our kid. Do you know, last night I woke up to Heath crying, and she was just standing over his cradle, staring at him. I almost had a heart attack," I confided. "She said she wanted to play with him but knew I wouldn't be okay with it, so she was just standing there looking. It was scary," I added. The situation was becoming increasingly difficult, and I knew something had to change for the sake of my son's well-being. "I know she can be a bit strange, but that doesn't mean she's going to hurt Heath. Just be a little nice and persuasive, and she'll melt away. She's easy like that, soft-hearted like you." "I really don't know about this," I said, my anxiety mounting. Heath was too young for a nanny, and taking him to work wasn't an option. I was a barista at a local cafe and couldn't afford to be away for long. Just having Hugh's income was barely enough to make ends meet. The future worried me. Originally, I liked the idea of leaving Heath with Trish while I was away, but now I realize how bad of an idea that could be. One day, while trying to get Heath to sleep, I heard loud noises from my room. Trish, who had been napping in there because we only had one bedroom, was stomping around, looking distressed. When she noticed me peeking, she swung the door open. "You think I should talk to my lawyer again?" she asked abruptly. "Talk to your lawyer? For what?" "For my baby, like the one you have. I think I can get her back if I try really hard. Maybe I could file a lawsuit against Tommy and prove he's not reliable for her to grow up with." Tommy was her ex who had custody of their child. I felt sorry for Trish. She was clearly in a terrible mental state, but I had to warn her about the potential consequences of her actions. "Trish, that's a reach. Even if you manage to prove Tony incapable of raising her, you won't get custody because that would mean both parents are considered unfit. She'd end up in the foster system until she turns 18. But then you can adopt her as soon as she goes up for adoption. You can bring her to me and everyone will be happy. You keep yours and I get mine." "Trish, no offense, but you sound like you're losing your mind. You need to relax and let go of this whole baby thing. You need help. Are you calling me crazy? Me, the mother of your husband? Do you know what I've done to raise him, the sacrifices I've made? And now you're taking this baby away from me. He's my baby too. Since when are we talking about Heath? If you want your child back, the only way is to be real and legal. Maybe you should get some help and then prove you're capable of joint custody. Don't lecture me. You're just a barista who caught my son's eye. You won't make a good mom, not like me. What's with you? We let you stay in our home because you had nowhere to go. And this is how you talk to me. I'm sorry life hasn't been great, but lashing out at me won't help." Shut up, I'm leaving," she screamed, coming so close I feared she might hurt me or Heath. But she didn't. The custody decision had clearly affected her deeply, warping her thoughts. When I told Hugh what happened, he got mad at me for letting Trish out on her own when she wasn't thinking straight. He didn't believe me when I told him she'd been obsessing over the baby situation. Later, she came back home, saying she'd been sitting on a park bench all day, though it had only been a few hours. She apologized and receded into the room to nap. She asked to help put Heath to sleep, but I was cautious. I wouldn't let my baby in her hands without supervision. Things didn't get easier. After this, there came a time when I knew I needed to get rid of Trish for good. Things really took a turn one day when we were caring for a sleeping Heath. "How much do you need to spend to care for a baby these days?" Trish asked. "Oh well, the diapers, other care accessories, and the cradle all cost a bit. Around $100 for the first month, give or take, if you're lucky. Baby-proofing the house after they start walking or crawling can also add up or require some creative solutions." "Why?" I asked. "Do you have something on your mind?" "Oh, nothing. It didn't used to be so expensive back in the day when I had Huey. Still, I wouldn't hesitate to have a baby. They're complete angels until they start crying. But yes, I'd give anything for little Heath." "So would I, Gwen. So would I. I'd be willing to give up anything for our baby." Her calling Heath our baby felt oddly uncomfortable, but I tried not to dwell on it. Days passed quickly, and Trish began going out regularly every evening around 5 p.m. She'd leave the house all dressed up and with her purse. I doubted she was seeing someone new at her age, so I figured she was just taking walks and trying to look good. Honestly, we were supportive of her improving mental health. Her behavior with Heath also became more normal. She no longer acted weirdly, would give me the baby whenever he cried, and even helped make his food and buy diapers occasionally. I was relieved she was finally feeling better and more like herself. I was even considering leaving Heath with her when I went back to work, which was going to be soon. But then one day, I heard her playing with Heath in the living room. I'd been taking care of him all day and was exhausted. I tried drifting off to sleep, but Heath's cries woke me up. As soon as I got to my feet, he became quiet. Then I heard Trish. "That's a good boy. That's a good baby. You're mine, okay? You're my baby, and Mom is going to take real good care of you. We're going to go flying away to a nice place where you'll have nice toys to play with. Don't you want that?" I wondered how much of what she said was true and how much was just play. When I fully woke up, I realized his cradle had been moved from my room. The cradle wasn't very heavy, but the thought of her moving it without waking me was unsettling. When I moved into the living room, my heart skipped a beat. The cradle had been modified, and she'd hung massive Christmas balls on top of it to distract the baby. They looked pretty, but they were made of glass and could have fallen on his face at any time. I quickly rushed over and picked him up quietly. "What are you doing?" "He's enjoying it," Trish said. "Trish, where did you get these Christmas balls?" "I found them in your storeroom. I thought he'd enjoy them." "Trish, those are really heavy. Not for us, but for the baby they are. How did you tie them up there? They look like they could fall at any moment." Hey, what's with all this constant accusing? I got the baby to be quiet, and you're still not happy with me. I appreciate that you got him to be quiet, I really do. I'm happy that you're getting along with him, but these balls are dangerous. His older plastic toy wheel wouldn't hurt him if it fell. How did you even get it down? I thought it was attached to the cradle. Oh, I ripped it off. It didn't take much. This is so much prettier. I don't see the problem at all. I understand, but please, let's take it off, okay? It could hurt him. Don't put the old one back on. It looks too weak to hold anything. Trish made a face and pulled the Christmas balls away. As soon as she touched them, 2 of them fell straight into the cradle, leaving impressions on the bedding. That's where my child could have been. Her intentions were good, but her methods were dangerous. She left us in the living room and retreated to my room to sleep. Afterward, she became a bit detached from me. Every morning, she'd go out and not come back for hours. Every time I asked where she was going, she'd reply, "Just the post office. I'll be back soon." The central post office was far from our place, but not so far that it would take the whole day. She continued whispering strange things in Heath's ears whenever she had the chance and smiled at me weirdly when I was around. Feeling increasingly uncomfortable, I opened up to Hugh again. "I told you, she's trying to get better. Why aren't you being supportive?" Hugh said. She still acts oddly around him, telling him he's her baby and repeating her own name so he would say it first. "You already know about the Christmas balls. I'm concerned." "No, you're overthinking this. She's taking care of our baby. Yes, the Christmas balls were a slip-up, but you handled it, and she won't do it again. Okay? You need to help her get to the post office for whatever reason she's going. I've asked. She just says she'll manage and goes away, not coming back until evening. Hugh, she's obviously not going to the post office every day. Why would she? Because she used to work there and has friends there. Maybe she's gotten herself a part-time job. Then why would she tell us about it? I don't know. Look, just relax and stop keeping an eye out for my mom. She's innocent. There's no need to incriminate her." That was it. I kind of lost it when he refused to believe me, no matter what I said. The time for me to start going back to work was approaching. I knew this moment would come sooner or later, so I decided to prepare. Without letting anyone know, I installed the baby monitor in the wall, hidden from plain sight. When both Hugh and Trish were out, I got it set up. When I started working, Trish began staying home. Most days seemed normal. She'd take Heath away to play and then put him back to sleep. I was only working part-time, so I'd be back before it was too late. But one day, I heard her talking to Heath on the baby monitor. "Oh, we're going to fly away, Heath, me and you. Mama has been working so hard at school. Teaching little kids like you will be someday. Oh, Mama has so many plans once she runs away with you." I heard Heath giggle and coo as she picked him up and spun around the room. "My baby, oh little baby. Do you like spinning? Do you like it? Of course you do. We're going to go far away from your little cradle. I'll get you a new one with big shiny balls on it, and you'll have a pretty mom, unlike your mom. We'll make Daddy run away too. Yes, we will. Yes, we will." What was going on here? She continued spinning around the room for a while. When she finally sat down, Heath started crying. Within moments, she put him aside on the edge of the bed and held her own head in her hands, as if she had just gotten vertigo from playing with him. My soul almost leaped out of my body when I thought Heath was about to fall off the edge, but she picked him up just in time and put him back in the cradle. "You keep crying, and I'm not giving you any more attention. In my house, you'll earn discipline from the get-go. Children these days, I swear to God," she said and slammed the door. I was starting to get really concerned. I had recorded the whole footage and considered sending it to Hugh, but I had to make sure I wasn't being delusional. That day, I went home early, worrying about Heath. Trish opened the door for me, looking all worn out and tired. She yawned and without saying a word, went back to sleep in her bed in the living room. I rushed into my room and quickly fed Heath. He cried for a bit but then fell asleep again. He wasn't quite taking to the bottle yet. Once things were quiet, I locked the room from the inside and began searching. Trish always kept a big red purse with her whenever she went out. I had to find it. After rifling through my room for almost an hour, I found nothing. Where could she possibly keep it? Curious, I went outside and saw it hanging from the coat rack. I grabbed it, making as little noise as possible, and lo and behold, she had been speaking the truth. She had a teacher's ID card for a school and a plane ticket in there. The ticket was scheduled for the day after tomorrow. I was blown away. This woman had been conspiring to run away with my child. I kept both items to myself and sent the video to Hugh, asking him to come home as soon as possible. This can't be real. Oh, for God's sake. Still think I'm overreacting? I asked. Hugh held the ticket and the ID card in his hand after watching the footage. He was completely speechless, but now everything had become clear. Trish had worked for months to save up enough money to make these arrangements. She clearly needed a lot of help. Hugh didn't have a word to say in his defense, but he said, "We'll need to call my father." Jonah picked up the call quickly. When Hugh filled him in, the conversation was quite saddening. But one thing was for certain. We had to get rid of Trish. She did not belong in our house. You think you should leave her in a retirement home? Jonah suggested. That's what I do. I don't know. I think she needs to be put in psychiatric care first, Hugh replied. So the bottom line is you want her out of the house for good? Yes, please. Okay, well, I'll come over to talk to her in person. Let's get started. Jonah had been around when Heath was born. He and Trish would butt heads over the smallest things, so it was a bit uncomfortable, but he showed up anyway. Hugh and Jonah talked to Trish, and there was a lot of crying and yelling. He's my baby. No, he's my son, Trish. You need to get out of here before we have to forcefully remove you. Oh, I'll see how you remove me. I had lost my patience by then. Trish had done so much to anger me that I wanted her out of our lives for good. You will never set foot in this house again. Just go away. Keep your hands off my son. Enough. The two of you. Mom, please don't make this complicated. Come with us, Hugh pleaded. The fighting continued for a while. Finally, we decided to place her in a retirement home for good. The people at the nursing home said they'd give her some psychological help as well. I didn't care anymore. I tore up the plane tickets in front of her and called the school she worked at to let them know not to have her close to any kids ever again. I may have overdone some things in my anger, but it was all necessary.